Welcome to a place where family secrets don't stay buried, and silence speaks louder than screams. Here, Christmas dinners don't end with hugs, they end with revelations. A single moment can turn love into entitlement, loyalty into leverage, and marriage into a carefully hidden lie. These are stories where money doesn't change people, it unmasks them, where sisters discover truths they were never meant to see, families reveal the price of their affection, and husbands quietly plan betrayals behind shared walls. Every story unfolds slowly, deliberately, until patience becomes the sharpest weapon in the room. If you're drawn to real emotions, shocking twists, and the kind of justice that arrives without warning, you're in the right place. Stay close, because here, revenge isn't loud, it's precise, calculated, and unforgettable. Christmas arrived wrapped in warmth that felt rehearsed. The house glowed with soft lights, familiar laughter bouncing off walls that had heard too many arguments to count. Plates were passed, wine glasses refilled, and for a few fragile hours, everyone pretended nothing sharp lived beneath the surface. That illusion cracked the moment a thin envelope slid from the side table and landed at my sister's feet. Curiosity always belonged to her. The paper was opened without hesitation, eyes scanning numbers meant to stay private. The air shifted instantly. Smiles froze. Music kept playing, unaware it had become background noise to something irreversible. The number echoed without being spoken. $15 million had a sound all its own. Breathing changed around the table. Questions came fast, sharp, and accusatory, dressed up as concern. How long had this been hidden? Why was no one told? When did secrecy replace trust? Love became conditional in seconds. Hands that once passed gifts now gestured greedily. Family history was rewritten aloud, favors exaggerated, sacrifices inflated. Every childhood memory suddenly carried a price tag. The celebration turned into an audit, and silence felt like guilt to them. Across the room, the husband watched everything with unsettling calm. No surprise, no defense, just a tight smile and eyes calculating rather than comforting. That stillness spoke louder than the accusations flying around. A hand reached out, meant to reassure, but the touch felt delayed, like it had been practiced in front of a mirror. Later that night, when the house settled into uneasy quiet, the calm made sense. Messages left open on a shared device told a different story. Emails with attorneys, drafts of financial plans, conversations never meant to surface. Discussions about contingency and control written weeks before Christmas even arrived. The envelope hadn't ruined the holiday. It had simply exposed how long everyone had been waiting for permission to demand, and how long the man beside me had been planning to take. The morning after Christmas felt colder, even with the heat running. Conversations that once happened in corners moved openly into the kitchen, voices sharpened by entitlement. Coffee cups sat untouched while numbers replaced memories. What had once been called family suddenly spoke the language of investment and return. Resentment surfaced with shocking ease. Old favors were resurrected and rewritten as unpaid debts. A cousin recalled lending support years ago, conveniently forgetting how brief and conditional it had been. An aunt listed sacrifices no one remembered asking for. Each story grew heavier, layered with accusation, all circling the same demand: access. The money became communal in their minds, even though not a single hand had helped build it. Loyalty revealed itself as temporary, rented only until opportunity arrived. Smiles disappeared, replaced by calculations disguised as concern. Suggestions came wrapped as advice. Trusts should be adjusted, accounts shared, decisions made as a family. Refusal, even unspoken, was treated as betrayal. The husband stepped into the role effortlessly, acting as mediator, voice calm and reasonable, offering to handle things to keep peace. Behind closed doors, behavior shifted. Late-night calls ended abruptly when footsteps approached. Screens dimmed too quickly. Documents were left open just long enough to be noticed. Asset breakdowns, hypothetical scenarios, contingency plans that didn't include consent. The most painful realization wasn't the family's greed. It was recognizing how neatly the husband aligned with it. Private conversations echoed phrases already overheard at the table, word for word, as if rehearsed together. Suggestions made publicly were mirrored in emails sent secretly. Trust was being negotiated away without permission. Pressure increased daily. Deadlines were invented. Guilt was weaponized. Love was measured by willingness to surrender control. The family didn't notice patience replacing protest. They didn't notice silence becoming observant rather than defeated. Every demand was remembered, every lie stored carefully. The house buzzed with confidence that compliance was inevitable. They mistook restraint for weakness and access for ownership. None of them realized they were revealing exactly who deserved to be cut out and who had already written themselves out long before asking for a share. They called it family loyalty, but it was nothing more than a price list waiting to be paid. While the family argued loudly about what they believed they deserved, the real threat moved in silence. The shouting distracted everyone, including the man sleeping beside me, who believed chaos gave perfect cover. Greed made noise. Deception preferred patience. Late nights became routine. He claimed exhaustion, stress from holding everyone together, yet screens glowed long after the house went dark. Messages closed too quickly, passwords changed without explanation. A shared life slowly locked itself away. The truth revealed itself in fragments. A printed document left in the home office, folded carelessly. A legal phrase circled in pen. Power of attorney. Not discussed, not agreed upon, just planned. Another night, an email preview appeared on a tablet charging by the couch. Language about asset protection, spousal rights, and strategic timing. Words chosen carefully, affection removed entirely. The most unsettling part wasn't the betrayal itself, it was how long it had been underway. Dates on files traced back months, long before Christmas, long before the envelope fell into the wrong hands. The discovery hadn't inspired the plan, it had only accelerated it. Conversations replayed themselves differently now. Compliments felt staged, concerns sounded scripted. Every reassurance carried an expiration date. When the family demanded access, he defended me publicly while feeding them confidence privately. Promises made in whispers contradicted vows spoken aloud. Evidence piled up quietly. Call logs with unfamiliar numbers, drafts of letters questioning mental clarity, financial projections that ended with his name alone. There was even a timeline neatly outlined, anticipating resistance and listing solutions for each possibility. Love wasn't mentioned once. What hurt most was recognizing how well he understood trust and how deliberately he dismantled it. The betrayal wasn't impulsive, it was studied, calculated, practiced. Yet deception has a flaw. It assumes blindness. It relies on underestimation. Every move he made created a record. Every lie left a footprint. Silence became a shield instead of surrender. Observing replaced reacting. The family continued to shout. He continued to pretend. And all the while, the truth settled into place with chilling clarity. The marriage hadn't been a partnership for a long time. It had been a waiting room. By the time he felt ready to take everything, every step he planned to use against me was already working against him. Silence became the safest place to stand. While voices rose and demands multiplied, restraint settled in, steady and deliberate. Every accusation, every false concern, every promise spoken too smoothly revealed more than confrontation ever could. Patience didn't feel like mercy, it felt like preparation. The family believed compliance was inevitable. Requests grew bolder, deadlines imaginary but forceful. Documents were slid across tables under the disguise of unity. Each signature requested was another test of control. None were given. Instead, time was allowed to do what pressure never could: expose intent. The husband grew confident. That confidence made him careless. Conversations once guarded turned casual. Lies repeated too often stopped matching. A misplaced folder here, a forwarded email there. Financial strategies drafted without consent. Legal language softened with phrases like best interest and shared future, while outcomes told a different story entirely. His plans required cooperation he assumed would come automatically. It never did. Every move was noted, every contradiction remembered, trust accounts adjusted quietly, legal protections activated under the cover of routine reviews. Advisors were consulted without announcement. Records were organized meticulously, not to attack, but to prepare. The louder the family became, the more complete the picture grew. The moment arrived without drama. No raised voices, no final argument. Papers were served with polite professionalism. Accounts froze instantly. Authority shifted in a single afternoon. The husband's carefully built strategy collapsed under its own documentation. Timelines contradicting sworn statements. Intentions exposed through his own correspondence. The family reacted exactly as expected: confusion first, then outrage. Accusations replaced apologies. Loyalty evaporated the moment leverage disappeared. Each demand they had made now stood as evidence of motive. Each message they sent became proof of entitlement. The husband tried to explain. Words stumbled. Love was mentioned too late. Promises rang hollow when weighed against months of planning and quiet deceit. There was no satisfaction in watching realization settle across his face, only clarity. What remained afterward was peace, not the fragile kind built on pretending, but the solid kind earned through restraint. Nothing had been taken from them. Access had simply been denied. Control returned to where it had always belonged. In the end, silence didn't just protect, it delivered justice exactly on time. If this story made you pause, think, or feel that quiet chill of recognition, don't let it end here. Like this video to support stories that tell the truth others are afraid to say. Subscribe for more real-life betrayals, family dramas, and endings that prove patience always wins. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next revelation, because the next secret is always closer than it seems.